While the world looks at money and power, God looks at the heart. While the world looks at intelligence, God looks at obedience. The world may value a platter of gold, but God values a heart that he can mold. God's looking at humility.
This is a Truth Transforms Truth Nugget, a daily dose of truth for your daily transformation. Welcome back to another Truth Nugget. We're going to be continuing today in a sermon entitled The Birth of Our Savior from Luke chapter 2, a sermon that certainly will cause us to celebrate the incarnation of Christ. We've been looking at so far the background of the whole situation under Caesar Augustus, a very powerful man, and that great contrast with little baby Jesus, this weak and helpless baby, how God chose to bring the God-man to this earth. An incredible contrast there with all the great glory and power that then is bestowed upon Jesus, the Messiah. And then we also saw a response to the decree, and we're seeing that there is a birth by God's decree. And that's where we pick up right now. Let's get back to that sermon. If you're new here, these are every day, Monday through Friday. Truth Nuggets are, and the Christmas Truth Nuggets are linked below in the description and the pinned comment. And so I'll have that for you so you can catch up on all Christmas-oriented Truth Nuggets, which just means they're from Luke chapter 2 and related passages as well, maybe. So let's get to the sermon.
The peace that Christ would bring is a peace that can reconcile mankind with God. Jesus brings a peace that is not of this world. He brings a peace that is beyond comprehension. The peace of Christ is the divine peace. It is an eternal peace. It is a peace that cannot be broken by war or ruined by famine. The peace that Christ brought to this world and to all who put their trust in him is an eternal peace with an eternal creator. And we're also told that the birth of Christ took place when the fullness of time had come. Jesus Christ took on human flesh at the exact time in history that God had planned. And God desired for this. The Father willed this to happen, and it occurred just as he planned. And rather than enter this earth with pomp and circumstance, he simply humbled himself, and he was born to a poor teenage couple, a couple that had very humble means. They feared God and had favor with the Lord. And see, God favors those that fear him. And God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. And God resists those that are prideful because of their wealth. He resists those that are prideful because of their power. He resists those that are prideful because of their intellect. He resists those that are prideful because of their outward piety, their holier-than-thou attitude, self-righteousness. God resists all of those things. While the world looks at money and power, God looks at the heart. While the world looks at intelligence, God looks at obedience. The world may value a platter of gold, but God values a heart that he can mold. God's looking at humility. Not only does he honor humility, but he demonstrated humility when he sent his Son to this earth, who it says took the form of a man. It did not count equality with God a thing to be grasped, but humbled himself and took the form of a servant. Jesus Christ suffered the greatest humiliation when he came to this earth in the form of a man, walked this earth as a servant, and suffered greatly at the rejection of his own people. In fact, he's always been fully divine, but he came to this earth and he added humanity to his attributes as he was born of a virgin, conceived of the Spirit. He entered this earth as a helpless baby so that he could save those who could never save themselves. The inn was full that day in Bethlehem, and baby Jesus was born in a manger. Joseph and Mary were outside with the animals, and baby Jesus was laying in this feeding trough. It's just like what Jesus said later on, a prophet has no honor in his own hometown. However, even though he didn't have a kingly entrance into this world, this was God's choosing. The Father ordained that Jesus would be born exactly in that way at that time in human history. And we can thank God for that. Prophecies were fulfilled in his birth, and many hundreds of prophecies were fulfilled throughout his life. Isaiah 7:4 spoke about him being born of a virgin, and Micah 5:2 declared that he would come to this earth in the little town of Bethlehem. The Christ the Lord was born that day in Bethlehem, and the angels rejoiced. And Christ the Lord was born that day, and the shepherds made noise. And Christ the Lord was born that day, and salvation came to this earth. The birth of Jesus was glorious news for all to hear. It was a glorious message to be spread throughout the region. The incarnation of Christ is worthy of great celebration.
The incarnation of Christ is certainly worthy of great celebration. It's the doctrine that makes redemption possible, and I hope that it moves your heart to want to celebrate, to want to worship Christ for all that he's done. It is the incarnation that leads to the resurrection. It is the life, death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ that makes our redemption possible, and that all began with the incarnation. The final installment of this sermon will be available tomorrow. Again, the Christmas sermon Truth Nugget links will be linked in the pinned comment and in the description, so you can take a look at those. If you're new here, if everyone can hit the like button, that helps to reach more people. And if you're new here, go ahead and hit subscribe, hit that notification bell so you're notified of all Truth Nuggets. These are Monday through Friday, each and every day. God bless you, and have a great day.
Truth Nuggets are a ministry of preaching for God's glory. To find out more about other resources available and ways that you can support the ministry, be sure to visit preachingforgodsglory.org.